Would I be the asshole if I only spoke German to my husband despite him requesting I don't? IF, 31, recently signed up to sit an advanced German exam with the full support and encouragement of my M30 husband. We live in Germany where I work in an English-speaking environment, so to get extra practice in, I told him that after X date, we'd switch to German, which he is fluent in, grew up here. We've managed 2 days so far, where even if he accidentally says something in English I answer in German. But last night he told me he needed a break from me speaking German. I refused, and said it's only for 10 weeks until my exam, then I'll go back to English. He says I don't sound like his wife when I speak German. I asked if it was because my mistakes were jarring or my vocab was causing issues. He said it just didn't feel like he was speaking to his wife. I think it's vital that I stick to my plan, to get my speaking practice in. He seemed a bit sad after I said no. Would I be the asshole if I carry on auf Deutsch? Update. Thanks to most of you for very well thought out and reasonable comments. I tried to read as many as possible and appreciate the different viewpoints. My husband came home this evening, we ate dinner, and I apologized, in English, for not being very understanding. I showed him the post. Some of the comments made us laugh so much. We discussed and found a healthy compromise that works for both of us to help me prep but not exhaust him after a long day. I've also taken on your suggestions of other places I can try and hone my German conversation skills and will try some of them out. You're the asshole. He's your husband, not your teacher, and he made a plea for just a break. Practice on someone else from time to time. Let him have a little bit of English from you at least once a day. Maybe set a plan where you speak English at breakfast, for example, so you have a block of time where he knows what to expect and when not to expect it. I was on your side until I read this plan is for 10 weeks. So over 2 months of being forced to speak a language he doesn't want to at all times to help you pass an exam is excessive. Having period of time where you just speak in German, maybe an hour or 2 a day or 1 day a week, seems a reasonable compromise. Nothing but German for 10 weeks when he's already expressed he isn't happy with it isn't fair or reasonable. You're the asshole. Not claiming you're the ass here, but I can only imagine going through the daily stress of work and whatnot. Then coming home just wanting to relax and have a calm conversation with my wife. Only to be met with an extra conversation every time we speak where I'm teaching her grammar through each piece of dialogue. Literally go touch grass. You literally live in Germany, you won't find a place with more people in German than here. Just go outside and talk to people in German. Go do groceries. Go to your local theatrics class. Be the weird gal that talks to people in the bus. Your husband expressed his discomfort of speaking with you in German 24/7. Of course you WBTAH. You're the asshole. It's his home too, and clearly he feels more comfortable speaking with you in English. I've been in your position with another language, and yes, things felt different when speaking in another language at home for both of us. Personalities subtly change, mannerisms etc. You could schedule speaking times or whatever, but it's his home too. And clearly he doesn't like the changes that come with speaking a different home language. That said, good luck with your exam. I've always thought it was far harder to learn a language in country than out, as there's so much pressure. I hope you figure out a way to practice and improve, without violating the home life harmony. You're the asshole. Practicing German is fine, but completely ignoring your husband's feelings isn't. If he says it makes him uncomfortable, forcing it anyway just shows you care more about your exam than his feelings. Find a compromise, practice with coworkers or set specific times instead of making it 24/7. Am I the asshole for a text I sent in a group chat while in labor? Let's jump into this. I, 29F, gave birth to my third baby in November. The women in my husband's family, his 2 sisters, are Sil, and his mom, and I have a group chat whereas we send pictures of our kids, tell funny stories about our day, and, in this case, send updates about possible labor. On this particular day in November, at 37 weeks plus 5 days gestation, I reached out to inform that this just might be the day my newest baby decides to make his grand entrance. I had been having strong contractions since 5:50 that morning. Everyone, except Sil, my husband's brother's wife, responded with excitement and praying hands emojis. Well, according to the nurses at the hospital, I wasn't dilated enough to be admitted, despite strong and frequent contractions. This was at noon. I updated the chat. Everyone seemed concerned and asked if I still thought if it might still be that day. I assured it was most likely going to happen that day, judging from past experiences, but I would go home to labor in comfort. This is where I might be the a-hole. My Sil, who also gave birth to her third baby a couple months prior, via C-section. I am not judging nor think of her as less than, just context is key, decided to text how glad she was that I wasn't in real labor, and that it's better that I wait to have the baby another couple of weeks. She then sent a bunch of screenshots and links to articles about false labor and Braxton Hicks. As if I had never given birth before or experienced pregnancy before. I replied, mid-contraction. Not to be bitty, but this ain't my first rodeo and I know how to Google things as well. And yes, I have been checked, and they will check again before deciding if I should go home or not. Well, I did go home, only to go back to the hospital a couple of hours later and had my baby at 10:15 that night. Sil does not reply to me in texts, and has since unfriended me on Facebook. Not that I really care about that. I just want to know I was in a hole for what I said. And, in hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have been texting in the group chat while in labor. So, Reddit, was I in a hole? Edit. I meant to elaborate on the C-section detail. Which definitely makes me come across as someone who looks down on her for it. Which I do not. Her first baby was a preemie and she had an emergency C-section. Her youngest two were scheduled. The point I was trying to make was that our experiences with pregnancy and childbirth are completely different. Which, I could have said without the C-section fact. My apologies. Edit. A little more info about my Sil and my relationship. She thinks she's the matriarch of the family, even if she won't admit it. We recently moved out of state, only 2 hours away, long drive, but not as long as they treated, a few months before I gave birth, and she started cutting us out of family get-together and even created a whole new group chat without my husband and me. She is always shocked at how intelligent my husband is because he went to community college instead of a university, like she did. I didn't go to college. I saw no point in going into debt. I didn't know what I would go to college for, so I decided to wait. So she often treats me like I am unintelligent. I think the snappy text was probably long incoming, but it was poorly timed and shouldn't have been in a group chat. It was not the first time I had gone off on her in a group chat either. She singled me out a few months prior, questioning my ability to care for my kids by myself while my husband was away for a couple of days. Yes, in the big family group chat. So I snapped back. My husband saw the message before me and said, "I'll let you handle her." As he held me back many times beforehand to keep peace. Like I said, it was possibly poorly timed but long incoming. As someone who gave birth, not the asshole. You're in labor, that give you a bit of grace. As someone whose body doesn't like to dilate, I know what it's like to go and get sent home. You get told to go home and walk around. It's safe to do as long as your baby hasn't been broken the sack. Both of mine ended up and I ended up back in the hospital a bit more dilated and a bit wet. They hooked me up with an IV and an increasing amount of Pitocin until 24 hours after the water broke or the baby was making their grand entrance. This is really not about pregnancy and labor, it is a know-it-all, giving unsolicited advice on something they really do not know. Then getting butt hurt when you push back. Does this sister-in-law need to always be seen as the expert, most knowledgeable? Not the asshole. You took her comments the worst way possible. Not sure why you brought up her C-section. And she should have been more careful what she said to a mom in labor. I honestly don't know why you were offended by what she said. Sounds like she was trying to be positive even if she was wrong. Honestly, moms are the most judgmental people toward other moms, and you all just need to chill. Don't text while under duress. Seriously, why? She had an emergency C premature baby. Of course she was hoping you'd go full term. She didn't wish your child any risk. Secondly, you were mid-contraction. Of course you were going to be testy. Now go send her a picture of your baby with a note saying that you all hope to meet soon. Nah, the tone doesn't come off well in texts. She may have not had any sarcasm and genuinely offered advice and concern. When it comes to texts that may or may not be sarcastic, it's best to just give them the benefit of the doubt and assume it's sincere. But it's also possible that you weren't in the best frame of mind since contractions suck and going from home to the hospital and back home can make anyone irritable. So I can't blame you for lacking patience. When a lady in labor gets snappy with me, I know to just smile and pretend like I didn't hear it. I think you should both clear things up, and not let something as silly as a text destroy a relationship. Not the asshole, her text mentioning it's better to wait a couple weeks, as if you had a choice while in active labor with baby number 3. She comes off as judgmental of you. Am I the asshole for cutting off the mic during the father of the bride's speech at my friend's wedding? So, I, 31F, was recently a bridesmaid at my best friend's, let's call her Sarah, wedding. It was supposed to be an amazing day, but things went completely off the rails during the reception. And now, I'm at the center of the drama. Sarah and her husband are not religious. They made it very clear that they wanted a secular wedding. No prayers, no religious speeches, just a fun, drama-free day. Everyone seemed to respect that, except her father. During the reception, it was time for the speeches. Her dad gets up, takes the mic, and at first, it's all sweet, talking about how proud he is of Sarah, how beautiful she looks, etc. But then, out of nowhere, he shifts gears and starts talking about how a marriage isn't real unless it's blessed by God. I see Sarah's face freeze. Her new husband, who was raised in a completely different religion, looks super uncomfortable. But her dad keeps going. It turns into a full-on sermon. He starts talking about how he prays they find their way to Christ, and even says, a marriage without God is doomed to fail. The whole room goes tense. Sarah is staring at me, looking mortified. I know she doesn't want a scene, but I also know she does not want this moment at her wedding. So I made a split-second decision. I went over to the DJ and signaled him to cut the mic. The speakers go silent. Her dad looks furious. He tries to keep talking, but obviously, no one can hear him. Finally, someone from the catering staff gently takes the mic away, and he storms off. Now, Sarah secretly thanked me later, but the fallout has been insane. Her dad is livid, saying I humiliated him. Her mom is saying I ruined the wedding, and that I had no right to interfere. Even some guests think I was out of line. But I don't know, wasn't it more out of line for him to hijack his daughter's wedding like that? Am I the asshole for cutting off the mic? Or should I have just let it happen? Bestie for life. Guests, especially people close to the couple, who don't respect the couple's requests can kick rocks. My cousin got married to someone religious. Our entire extended family is from a different culture and none of us practice any religion. But, out of respect for his family, we bowed our heads and listened to the pastor bless them. It was their day, not any of ours. The mom and dad are complete assholes. Of course you are the problem. Because if you aren't the problem then he is, and they are all super invested in that not being a thing. Totally not the asshole. Thank you for looking out for your girl. I'm deeply religious. A friend died way too young recently and I've been asked to perform music at his celebration of life gathering. Guess what I'm not doing? Anything religious. Because it's not about me. It's about him, the way he lived his life, and the song his husband chose. Bride's parents are just begging to have her and her new husband go NC with them soon. Not only are you not the asshole, you're a hero. Her dad is livid, saying I humiliated him. No. He did that all by himself. You are an awesome friend. Not the asshole and keep doing you. Not the asshole you gave him a chance to stop. He knew Sarah didn't want a religious speech but he did it anyways. He didn't think anyone would stand up to him. You did and he can't handle it, so instead of owning up to what he did, he's being a coward and blaming you. Good on you for standing up for your friend. Okay, I'm a pastor's wife. Very religious. And I am on your side. The couple celebrating their wedding did not want religion on their day. That should have been respected. Father should have had that discussion with them privately. Not made a speech at the reception which made people uncomfortable and violated what the couple wanted. You did the right thing. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not refunding my friend $600 after she bailed on our group trip? My 19 female friends and I all decided to go on a ski trip for a 12 days over winter break. We found a place to stay and all in all it was around $600 per person for the rental, and we decided it was just easiest to have one person, me, put all the money up front and just everyone pay me back before the actual trip, which everyone did. In my friend group we have a girl let's call Sarah. Sarah comes from a comfortable family and was even one of the people who suggested the trip and was one of the leading forces to finding the Airbnb. Literally in the weeks leading up to the trip we were all fine, sending outfit ideas, restaurants to books etc. The Tuesday before we left. Saturday, Sarah starts sending texts to the GC like, guys, Jacob's boyfriend family is going to XXXXX next week. Basically sending us a lot of details about where his family is going for winter vacation that we didn't really need to know. Then on Thursday, again we leave on Saturday. She texts the GC saying how she couldn't go because she had a family emergency, said her grandma had gotten admitted to the hospital. We were obviously bummed, but family comes first, and I told her that I would send her the money back that she sent towards the rental. We go on the trip and everything is okay until one of my friends who has Sarah's location on Life 360 roommates sees that she's in a beach town and we put two and two together. We spend that night pissed and we call her out the next day where she admits everything. She had been last minute invited on her boyfriend's vacation and decided that she wanted to go to that instead but didn't know how to tell us. We were all obviously hurt and upset that she would choose a boy over us, but at the end of the day she's a 19-year-old girl, so I guess it's just immaturity. The part that I'm wondering if I'm the asshole with is that after finding out that she voluntarily pulled out of the trip, I had told her I wouldn't be refunding her the $600 she had sent me for the rental. She pulled out so last minute that we couldn't find anything cheaper, and I said I was okay just wasting that money because again I thought she was having a family emergency. After finding out that she wouldn't be getting that back she went insane and started calling me a bad friend and everything. My parents think I should send it back to her, but I don't see why I should. She pulled out because of her boyfriend and expected us to all just absorb the costs. Not the asshole. She voluntarily bailed on the trip and lied to everyone saying that her grandma was in the hospital. She could have told the truth, but she may have known she wouldn't get the money back or she'd be judged by all of you. Either way, you paid solely for that B&B expecting everyone would chip in. In this sense, you're only expected to pay $600, not $1,200, because she lied and went on a different trip instead. The B&B was already paid for and she knew it. If she really is from a comfortable background, she should have no problem paying the $600 for a choice she made. The only mistake you made was ever offering to refund her the money in the first place. Emergency or not, she pulled out at the very last minute and left everyone else hanging. That's on her. She should not have been refunded one penny. She should just eat that cost, even if it had been an emergency. It's not your place to fund her emergencies, or her emergencies. Not the asshole. Oh, and by the way, she's a bad friend and a big fat liar. Not the asshole. Airplane tickets wouldn't be refunded that close to the trip, neither would a hotel accept a cancellation 2 days in advance. That plus the lying means she chose her priorities, and should foot the €600. Maybe she'll think twice next time. Not the asshole. She lied and got caught. Technically you didn't need to refund even with a family emergency, but I understand doing so, if you can afford it, because they'll most likely have unexpected expenses to cover. That's not what happened. She chose to go on vacation instead. Friend, I was willing to take a financial hit and refund you when you said you had a family emergency. You lied. You chose to go on vacation with your boyfriend instead. Which is your decision to make. Just like not taking a financial hit due to your decisions is my choice to make. You will not be refunded anything. Not the asshole. Why should you alone eat $600 because she flaked and lied? Not the asshole. I agree with you, reimbursing the money when there is a family emergency was being a good friend. But she was not being a good friend. She ditched you for her boyfriend and lied about it too. She should still pay for her previous commitment and you have no moral obligation to give back the money.